All right, welcome back to another episode of the Diz Twitter podcast, everybody. I'm very excited for my guest today. We're going north of the border, by the way. We're going to Canada, right? This is a Disney Clips guy.
Yes, sir. Up in
How
Canada.
are you, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Where are you in Canada exactly?
We're about an hour northwest of Toronto, so like not too far away from Toronto. So a
Very
couple
cool.
couple hours from Buffalo.
Oh, nice. So you're not too far, I guess,
No,
from the
no,
border.
no.
Cool.
It's
So
not too bad.
I had never been to Canada before until last year. We did a Disney cruise to Alaska and got to go to Vancouver, and that was an awesome city.
Yeah, I've never been out that way. The furthest out west I've been is Alberta so far in Canada. So we're actually thinking of going to BC next March because just for part of the March like spring break that we have up here, and then we're going to go down to Disneyland. So we're kind of
Nice.
combining trips there. Yeah, so should be
So
good.
is it Florida hot in Toronto right now?
Oh golly, no. Here, like when we get to July and August, we can get some hot days. Never consistently hot like Florida. But we do get, 36, 38 Celsius. I know that those are, I don't know what that is
Yeah.
in Fahrenheit, but
Yeah, I don't know.
all I know is we go to Florida every summer, so I'm very used to the heat there now. But
Right.
I still never really even check what the numbers are for the temperatures because I'm like, whatever. Like,
Nah.
I'll survive. But yeah, here it's right now. Today's actually a terrible day. It's rainy and cold, but like for the most part, it's been nice the last week or so. So
Very
yeah,
nice.
We're
Well,
still
it's
we're still pretty
beautiful country you have there up in
good.
Canada.
Yes,
I loved it.
yes,
It's very cool.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
Cool, man. All right, so I've got a lot to talk to you about. We're going to do news later, so I hope you're ready to talk about Disney Spring buses because that's what Disney Twitter is
Sure.
all flutter about
Well,
right now. So we're
So
going to
I
get to
was
that.
actually gonna say to you too, like I'm an annual pass holder who comes from
Yeah.
here, obviously, and I don't think we've ever stayed off property other than for like one night at a time, like maybe at the
Yeah.
start of a trip or the
Sure.
end.
Yeah.
So the bus thing is a bit of a like I've been watching it obviously and reading it because I
Oh,
see
yeah.
so many comments and people are, obviously very concerned about it, some of them. It has so little impact on me because we are always resort guests and I've never and to be honest, like we go to Disney Springs, I don't know, once or twice a trip, and we're usually
Yeah.
there. Our summer one is pretty long; it's usually a couple weeks at least,
Okay.
and we maybe go down there once, and so it's really not a thing we have to do too often. And I'll even when you ask me about it a bit later,
Yeah.
we obviously do resort transportation, but we Uber
Yeah.
a lot, like so
Okay.
that'll be a whole other subject, but. Yeah,
Cool.
so that's fine. Yeah, so that's cool.
All right, was nice little tease. We will talk about that later, but let's talk about
Yeah.
you for a second. So let's talk about your
Sure.
Twitter handle first. This is what I always ask everybody.
Yeah.
So where did the Disney Clips Guy Twitter handle come from?
So it's funny because so the original account, you may have heard like my hacked account back earlier in the year. It was a bit of a rough start to the year, but
Yeah.
so I don't know how many years ago. I'm a very late to the game Disney person. Like so,
Okay.
I never came to Disney World as a kid. I never.
Same.
Yeah, I didn't start going till 2008. And the
Same.
thing
That's so weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
The thing that kicked off my interest, I was married at the time with four kids, and they
Okay.
were at that time they ranged from almost 10 down to like I had a 1 year old, and it was Christmas morning, and we had finished all of our stuff. And for the first time in my life, I flipped on the TV on a Christmas morning, and there was the Disney parade that I'd
Gotcha.
never seen before. And I watched the parade, and I was like, "Huh, I might want to go and see this place." And I think it was shortly after that we booked a week vacation to come down, and our first ever resort was Port Orleans Riverside because
Nice.
we could squeeze the six of us because the youngest was under 2, so we could squeeze 5 plus a crib in there, so that's why that
Ah.
one worked out for us. And
Okay.
so we were planned to stay there, and oddly enough, I strongly disliked our first experience. I did not like it
Wow.
for the first 3 or 4 days, and like ultimately the reason was I'm like Canada's Wonderland, the park up here.
Sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
how well you know, but there is
Yeah,
a
no,
theme park.
I'm familiar.
Yeah, it's about an hour from my house, just a little bit north of Toronto. So
Okay.
we used to go there all the time, and actually we had season passes for there, which of course in Canada, season pass is like May to November at the
Yeah.
latest. Because I mean, once the snow is there, there's nothing to do.
Sure.
And the season passes for that are like at the time were probably $70 per adult and I don't know, $50 a kid or something. So you could go all summer when we were out.
Yeah.
I'm a teacher, so I'd be out of school all summer.
Oh, cool.
So I'd just take my kids down there over and over again.
Right.
And that is very much an amusement park. And I didn't know the difference at that time. I just thought parks were parks.
Sure.
And so having gone to Canada's Wonderland many times as a kid up here and then with my own kids, going to Disney, Walt Disney World, I first of all obviously was stunned by the theming and what that was super cool. Loved that right away. I loved the environment of like being at Riverside and then going to a park, but I found it so overwhelming and confusing. And of course, having 4 little kids,
Yeah.
we had the dining plan too, which I didn't even understand. Like,
Yeah.
I think our first morning at the Riverside Mill there, I think I came in with my kids to get them breakfast, and I got whatever pancakes, waffles. I don't even know what I got, but when you go up to pay and use your plan, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, you need to get this and this and this to make it a kid's meal, and you need this for now. And so it was just very confusing because I had done no
Yeah.
research on this, nothing. And so by the third or fourth day, I think I was finally starting to understand all that part.
Right.
But the other thing that stunned me was we walked into Magic Kingdom, and obviously I was blown away by Main Street USA. And our first ever ride, I don't know why everyone seems to go right. That's what everyone talks
Yeah.
about. But I'm a left turner, so
Okay.
I'm left-handed, so maybe that's why. But
There you
we went, and our first ever ride was the Carpets of Aladdin, and it was early
Really?
evening. I know, and I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what
Yeah.
it was. We got on it, and I was like, whatever, this is fine. And so
Mhm.
we rode it, and then we went to Jungle Cruise after that. So anyway, we
Okay.
did all this, and I was like, these aren't thrilling roller coasters like the coasters back at Canada's Wonderland. Now,
Sure.
Canada's Wonderland has other types of rides, but primarily people go there for the coasters, and they're
Yeah.
not themed. There's a name on it and stuff, but
Right.
the queues are just metal fence rods, and they're just
Right.
boring, right? So,
Mhm.
and that's fine. Like that's what we were used to. So it was a very, very different experience when I climbed on It's a Small World the first time, and I was like, "What am I on here?" And I just had no idea what I was experiencing. And so it took a bit of time. I didn't even really know what the rides were. I looked at a map before I came, and I was like, oh, there's a ride over there and a ride over there. But
Yeah.
I mean, when you read the description, you don't really think, oh, it's a boat ride that goes through. So that was all very alarming to me. And by the time we finished the trip, I actually started to like it, obviously,
Okay.
once I got a sense. And then, so I booked right away to come back next year. I saw the bounce back was on our table,
Sure.
and, the day before we came back. So I put something down to book for the next year. And I think the next year I stayed at Contemporary, and we had a
Ooh.
theme park view on the 10th floor.
Wow.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And obviously my kids were young, and the other thing I liked about that was the walkway, obviously, over to the park, because
Can't
my
beat that.
youngest was 2 years old, and so he had to go to bed, and my now ex-wife was back there with the young one while I took the older ones back, and we would see Main Street Electrical Parade, or it might have even been Spectra Magic back
Yeah.
then. Yeah, it might have been
Yeah.
that one. But I knew I saw both of them. I don't know what year I saw them, but I know I saw both of them.
Same here. It's all
Yeah,
meshing together.
and we love those, and it was super funny because my older kids, the 3 of them, we'd watch the fireworks, but then during the parade we would just big thunder and splash, big thunder and splash, we just back
Sure.
back and forth, and it was crazy, and we even had like a march we did to the Main Street Electrical Parade music. It was silly, but
That's awesome.
but it was fun. And then so we did that trip, and that was great. I think we stayed 10 days for that one because I was like, I really wanted to experience it a bit more.
Yeah.
And then we didn't go a couple years, and we did 2 rooms at Pop Century because now that I had 6 people that had to be all paid
sure.
for, we were like, let's do 2 rooms.
Yeah.
And so the price of Pop that year, I think it was like $90 a room for
Oh,
the
yeah,
night. Like, this is
yeah.
back in 2011 or something. But we did that and it was great. And then unfortunately, the year after that, I got divorced and I thought, oh, I'm never going to Disney again because I'll never afford that again.
Yeah.
And then I met my current wife, and a few years, like in all the mix up of all that stuff. And she's a huge Disney fan who'd been 4 times, and I'd only been 3. So she's one up on me still. And she's told me repeatedly that the only grounds for divorce ever are if I go to Disney without her. So
Uh-oh.
that's yeah,
Don't do that.
that's right. So we've now, once we got going, we Brady bunched and put 6 kids together when we got together,
Wow.
and did a bunch of trips with the kids over the years. And since 2015, I think now we've been maybe 32 times in those
Wow.
last 10 or 11 years. Like, we've
Holy
really
cow.
now having said that, Run Disney entered the picture, and
Right.
understanding and learning there were seasonal holidays and events and parties and this and that. So that kind of really changed the dynamics of what we do too. And
Right.
so that's it. So that's a long story to tell you that by the time I hit 2019, I think, here I was thinking, oh, I'm starting to understand some Disney things. So I'll start an account called Disney Tips Guy, thinking I knew something that maybe other people didn't know. And then I realized as I was doing this account back in 2019, I was really posting clips more than I was posting tips, because I noticed through my interactions with people on Twitter, I realized these people don't need tips. Like, they know
Yeah.
what they're doing. Like,
Sure.
there's no. So I would just post clips, and then so that's why I changed the main visible handle to Disney Clips Guy and just left
Okay.
the actual address as at Disney Tips Guy. So
Gotcha.
so I just figured that made more sense because that's kind of what I was doing. And
Okay.
then the account has just sort of grown over the years, and
Yeah, it has.
like, people ask questions. I'm happy to talk to people and answer questions if I can help. Like, I certainly don't have the kind of historical park knowledge that
Right.
a lot of other people have. Like, I don't know Epcot before 2008. I've seen other people's
Right.
posts and information, and I can obviously look on YouTube and see rides. But I mean, I'm not one of these guys that's been around for so long that I can really be miserable about changes. And I'm not saying people are miserable. I just mean, some people
Well.
really suffer with, well, I listen,
Some are.
even in my limited time, I've understood that it is hard. Like
Oh, yeah.
one that really hit me was Great Movie Ride. I really love movies. Yeah. And the
was
funny
tough.
thing was, the year it closed, we had a trip planned the day after it closed. And so when we heard the closing date, we called and booked everything 2 days earlier so
Okay.
we could be there on closing day. And we did get there, and we were
I was
there.
there
So,
too.
we just missed each other.
We were around
But,
each other somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so we did that, and that was a lot of fun.
Huh.
But I can sense, and I mean, I used to love the backlot tour. I used to love the what was the stunt show, the car stunt
Light
show
Twitter's
there.
action.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I really liked Hollywood Studios back then, and I didn't see the old version,
Right.
but even from then to now, I can see a lot of differences in how it is,
Oh,
obviously.
yeah.
And so there's, I would say I'm like a relative newcomer in that sense, but on the other hand, when people want to book, I have a pretty good understanding of how to book trips. And I'm not a travel agent, but we have friends that say they're going, and they call us and come and spend 2 hours
Yeah.
over here with us, and we walk them through. Because I just say to them, my first ever trip, I go back to that and I say, I hated it because I didn't know what I was doing, and we don't want anyone to go through that. So when people say they're going for their first time, we often invite them over and just kind of walk them through how to book, what to do, like for basics, go through lightning lanes, go through, just that whole. And of course, if there's bargains or deals that come out, like the dining plan for kids and stuff like that, we just tell people, and we just try to help them, because we know it can be a lot of fun, but it can also be a nightmare.
It can be overwhelming.
It can be. And I remember standing at the front of Magic Kingdom during one of the trips in the last several years, and somebody came under the train station tunnel there into the park with a group of like 9 people, and they all stopped, opened a map, and said, "So where's the Star Wars ride?" And I'm like, I could hear them, and I'm just like, oh no, like, you just have that feeling like, oh, you've just blown the day. So
Yeah.
you kind of know that, and so so that was where the account came from.
Okay.
And I've been really, really lucky over the last several years to have met a lot of the people that we interact with on
Hmm.
Twitter in the parks. It's been a lot of fun getting to know people, and
Very cool.
so it's great. Yeah.
Awesome. So it's interesting because the past couple of guests that I've had on have been like Disney lifers, not
Yeah.
necessarily maybe going to the parks their whole life. And like I said, I'm like you. I didn't go until my honeymoon in 2008. But
Right.
growing up, and even when I was like a teenager and in my 20s, I like researched everything about the parks. Like I was all in. Just my family didn't vacation that way, so I never got to go.
Yeah.
So my honeymoon was my first trip. But it sounds like you went into this whole thing like super green. Like you didn't
Yep.
really know a lot about the history of the
Nothing.
parks or anything,
Nope.
huh? So
Nothing.
did that make it like really hard? Like you said, like those first few days were a little tricky because you didn't really know much about what you were getting into.
Yeah, and like part of that frustration was, and people still feel this kind today for sure. And I mean, even to this day, like even though now I guess it's changed a bit since we became pass holders about 3 years ago.
Okay.
When it was after COVID, and it was when I started doing the running events, and we were going down like 3 times a year, maybe 4 times. That was when I was kind of more into, I think I've relaxed more now because I know we're going down more often, so I don't panic as much about getting on rides. But it used to be that you just felt this sort of pressure of, oh, I got to get up and get there, or I'm going to get behind the 8 ball of trying to get,
Yeah.
onto Big Thunder
Right.
or whatever ride, and knowing the line's going to get huge. And I think that's what really panicked me when I was really first green, because with our kids, we would watch Stacy in the hotel room, and I loved her stuff. Like it was a great
Sure.
thing, but on the other hand, it made me feel so much pressure because she's just glossing over. You got to
Right.
get on Splash, Thunder, and Space Mountain today, and I'm like, well, we got to do that, and you're going, oh man, the line's so long. How are we gonna? And I got young kids and whatever, so. And I mean, I was still learning about Fast Pass and the paper tickets and all this. I mean, there was just so much, right? And so that pressure has kind of subsided a lot. So now, and I've been on, even knowing there were 4 parks. Like, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
it took me a while to figure that out, So,
Yeah.
so I was very green, and it was difficult. And even now, some of the people that come over and visit with us to go to the parks, they say things like, oh, we're going to go to Disney when we're in Florida. I'm like, okay, cool. So how many days are you going? They're like, oh, we're just going to do one. And I'm like, okay. So and then that's fine. Like if that's all you want to
Yeah.
do. But the first thing I say to them is, so be prepared for the sticker shock of the ticket price. Because if
yeah.
you go as a 1 day person with 3 or 4 people or 5 people, I mean, that number jumps off the page pretty quick. And
Oh, yeah.
it's funny because in March this year, we brought my wife's brother and his 2 little kids down. That was their first time. Now he had been as a child, but didn't remember it. But his kids are like 3 and 5. And so when I was helping them book, I was confused because the price seemed so good, and I couldn't figure out why, because I thought I'd bought a package, right? It was like a free dining with your room and all that stuff. And of course, I ordered mine with my annual pass discount and all that. So and I didn't even think of tickets because I have tickets.
Right.
So like 2 weeks before we went, I realized we hadn't put tickets on his package. And I was like, oh boy. So then we went on and we were going a week. And when I priced out his tickets, it was $2,800 for the 3 of them for 6 days. And I was like, holy mackerel. And that's when it really struck me how much the tickets cost. And so even we had some people over here 2 weeks ago. She's going down for 1 day, and she goes, well, which one do you think we should go to? And I said, listen, if you're only going 1 day, you're going to Magic Kingdom. You don't,
Of course. Right.
you don't go to another park if you're going for 1 day and it's your first time. So they're going in the first week of July. I'm very interested to see how it goes for them. But they're staying at the Drury because she didn't want to splurge for a Disney one, because the Drury offers that breakfast and then even food between 5:30 and 7:30. There's food included there. I don't know. We stayed there one time for one night, and we were amazed. Like the breakfast was fantastic, but between 5:30 and 7:30, if you go back to the hotel, there's food provided. It's just the day we were there was like hot dogs and tacos, but free drinks and whatever else. And I was like, well, if you want to really keep it cheap, this is the way to do it. And I told her, you can go back, eat your food, and then go back to the park, catch the fireworks, because you're only doing 1 day. So you'll want to get back and do the fireworks and the parade and whatever.
Right.
So I'm very fascinated to see how it goes for her because, like I say, when people see that first price on what they're going to do, it's pretty shocking. And being
Yeah.
Canadians, we have to then take our amount and add like 30% to it,
Yeah, I
right?
was going to ask
So,
about that. Yeah.
oh yeah, it's like 35%. So, a $5,000 trip is now $8,000, so
Holy cow.
yeah, so people have to be aware of that when they plan, and we often fly from Buffalo, because it's so much cheaper for us to drive across the border and jump on
Okay.
Southwest or JetBlue or somebody.
Sure.
Buffalo has a small airport, but it's so quick. You can get in and out.
Right.
Toronto's airport is a colossal nightmare.
Wow.
It's brutal. It's huge. It's a mess. It's wild. So we try to avoid it as much as possible. It's just so much more cumbersome. Where if
Yeah.
we cross the border and in the U.S., it's a domestic flight now. We don't have to mess around with customs and all that, and so it's
Right.
much easier. Much easier. Yeah.
Very cool. So
Yeah.
you kind of went all in. Your first trip was in '08, much like me, and then I kind of went crazy too. I mean, we've bought into DVC. We own a couple of contracts there. We
Okay.
are big time cruisers. Have you done a Disney cruise?
No cruises so far. We have
Okay.
talked about maybe doing one, but it's not a theme park. I don't know if
I
I
get
can
it.
make. I mean, even Universal, like.
Yeah.
In all those times we've been down, I've visited Universal twice. And
Okay.
mostly it was because I would look at buying the tickets for Disney and I'm like, okay, I've already paid all this money to be at Disney. And then I would
Right.
look at a single day over at Universal and I was like, why am I spending that much money to go over there? I know what I've got here and I love it over here.
Right.
But luckily through Twitter, there's a couple of friends that I've made who've been like, "Oh, I work there. We can hook you up with some tickets
Nice.
if you want to try." Yeah, so we've been able to go over at least a couple times now. Not since Epic opened. We haven't done
Okay.
it yet. We're going to try that in the next year or two, hopefully. But we're not in a terrible rush. Like it,
Yeah.
we've seen a lot of it. It looks great. But we really enjoyed a lot of things about Universal. But this is still, Disney's still our home base, obviously, and that's what it sort of feels like for us. And then as far as DVC goes, we're not DVC members, but I don't know how this comes across to the DVC people, but we rent the points
Yeah.
kind of regularly. I wouldn't say all the time, but we did Polynesian. We've done a couple of times at the Boardwalk, a couple times at Wilderness Lodge. And then we have one in January for Polynesian because it's the marathon weekend. So
Okay.
I managed to grab a pretty good deal on I think if we were picking, the Polynesian is our favorite single.
it.
Yeah, it's so much fun there. We love that resort. But that's not one we're gonna. If we want to stay 2.5 weeks, we have to kind of be sensible about which resort. And I'm telling you, the last couple of years, the annual pass discounts on some of the rooms
They've been great.
have been so insane. Like I think we got Riverside for $160 a night a couple times, and that's crazy. So
It's
yeah.
funny. I was talking to somebody who lives in Orlando. She's actually going to be a guest on the show next week, saying how dead the parks are in the summer now. So
Yeah.
I guess they're just putting out all these discounts because they got to fill rooms. I think
Yeah.
everybody's travel habits have shifted a little bit because if you wait, you get food and wine towards the end of the summer, and then that goes into Halloween, and then you can go at Christmas. So I think people have kind of shifted, and it's brutally hot. I mean, you go
Oh,
every
yeah,
summer.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
and same here. My wife's a teacher, so we can only vacation like spring break, summer break, and then after Christmas too. So it's brutally hot down there. So I think people maybe have just shifted their patterns a little bit when they want to travel. So yeah, there are great deals
For
to
sure.
be had.
Oh, yeah.
So you've done Disney 30 some odd times. You've said something like that,
Yeah.
many times, including a trip to Tokyo. Right? I've seen you
Yeah.
post them about that.
Yeah. So last year, so we've been to Disneyland 3 times.
Okay.
And the first excuse to go there was I did the Coast to Coast challenge because I did the Dopey challenge I think I have it. Oh yeah, that's my first one over there. But I did the Dopey challenge one year, and then they were doing the dump. It was the first time they did the races after COVID at Disneyland, and so they had the Dumbo Double Dare. So we flew out, and I did the 10K and the half to get the Coast to Coast medal. But this was our first chance to visit Disneyland, and to be very honest, I sort of answer this question occasionally that if I was choosing one park, only one park to go to, it would be the original Disneyland.
Sure,
Like
same
it's
here.
I was blown away. I was just I mean, having been to and I listen, I love Orlando and I love the resort feel of Orlando.
The bubble.
That's where I think the difference is like with Orlando, I feel like I'm in a vacation destination. It's so many things to do, so
Yeah.
many places to go, lots of restaurants, lots of this, lots of that. Whereas Disneyland is so compact and you're just
It is.
there, and
Right.
we love that. But I mean, I think when I went in that park and we turned down again, I went left. I went down towards Pirates, and I'd
Yep.
never been on Indiana Jones. I didn't even know what that
Oh,
was.
it's
I
so
love
good.
that ride.
So
So,
good.
but I remember standing outside of Pirates in the middle of the day and watching people go by in canoes, and they're huge, their big boat there, the Mark Twain, I think it is, and
Yep.
then the
Yep.
and the Columbia, is that the other one?
Yep. The Shanling St.
And
Columbia.
I remember standing there and just freezing because I just geeked right out. I was like, I feel like Roller Coaster Tycoon just came alive in front of my eyes because I had no
Wow.
idea that, if you play Roller Coaster Tycoon, I'd never been to the parks, and I didn't know they did canoes, and I didn't know they did,
Yeah.
all these simulators. I had no
Sure.
clue what this stuff was. And so
Yeah.
as I stood there in the park, I was just like, this is incredible. And I took the Columbia ride around the island there and saw the train and all this. And I was just like, this is something else. So anyway, long story short, so we did it that year for the run. We went back again in the summer to try it again. And then in 2025, we thought, we got to try going to Tokyo. So let's just go to Disneyland for like a week,
Yeah.
do a few days there, and then we can get a direct flight from there to Narita Airport, and then fly back to LA. And so we went to Tokyo, and we did 4 days in the parks there, and we stayed at the Disneyland Hotel,
Nice.
the big one,
Yeah.
just for like 2 nights, I think. And then we switched over to the Toy Story Hotel for I think 3 nights. And those parks, I was like blown away there too. Different
Yeah.
reasoning. Like I mean, I would say that the Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland, felt a lot like California, like a lot.
Okay.
Except for the covered Main Street USA.
Right.
It's very much larger scale. Like it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also blown away by this might sound really dumb, but how huge the walkways were. Like it was.
Oh, really?
Like I could not believe. Like we we went over towards Splash Mountain and toward the Tom Sawyer Island and the boat there, and the walkway was so wide that parades could have gone through there and people could have been like easily lined up on both sides and not
wow.
been affected at all. Like it was huge. And so we were stunned by that. Disney Sea was just like we obviously prioritize. We bought there's a package you can get where you can kind of pre-select a few rides because
Yeah.
I wanted to be sure we got on the Frozen attraction and the Tangled attraction and the Peter Pan, the new, like they have that newer version of Peter
Yep.
Pan, all in Disney Sea. And so we had all those picked, but I mean, we're already talking about going back because we're like, we need to get back now that we've seen it to try and see some of the things we missed. We didn't even
Yeah.
do their Soarin' ride because I knew the ride was the same, but the wait time was never below 120 minutes the time we were
Ooh.
there for Soarin'. And I'm like, I'm not going to line up that long for Soarin'. We can do that, back
Yeah.
in North America. But I mean, just the theming in Disney Sea was spectacular. The other thing I really liked at Disneyland there, the Beauty and the Beast attraction was fantastic.
Okay.
Um,
Is that when
they're-
you ride in like a big teacup or something?
Big teacup, and
Yeah,
like
okay.
you're on a trackless ride, and you're like,
Yeah.
the scenes were, and there's a spectacular scene where the Beast turns back into the prince, and you're just. I mean, when we first watched it, we just looked at each other dumbfounded, like,
Wow.
what just happened? Because the effect is so well done, and we were just amazed. So that was cool. But they also had the Snow White's Scary Adventure ride there,
Nice.
like some of those classic rides that you can see some of them in Disneyland and
Splash
whatever.
still, right? Don't they still have Splash?
Splash is still
Yeah.
there. It's kind of set up in the reverse of what it was here,
Oh.
but essentially the same ride. And obviously they speak Japanese on the ride, but the song, Zippity Doo Dah, and the other one,
Oh.
the medley, basically
Yeah.
the medley song. That was in
How do you
English.
do?
So there were,
Do-do.
yeah, there was
Yeah.
parts that were in English, parts that were in Japanese, but I mean,
Okay.
you know what you're going through, and
Right.
it was really cool, and like that one hits me particularly because as a late comer to the parks, my earliest memories of going there are with my kids on Splash, and like
Mm.
so like my kids had so much fun on there. We didn't even see the original movie, none of that stuff at that time.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah.
we were like sitting on this ride going, this is crazy. Like there's all these critters around you, you're doing all this stuff. And so my kids, we would sing the songs when we were at home. We would just, like, so for me, that ride always just reminded me of really good times with my young kids when they were
That's awesome.
small. And so when we went to Japan and we're on it, I was like tearful because I'm like, oh, my kids are all grown up now. But it was really neat. And their Pirates was cool, and their Thunder Mountain very familiar. Like everything was very much, it just had a real. The only thing disappointment was Haunted Mansion there was closed, and
Oh, that's a
and and
bummer.
and the other funny thing for us is in the 3 times we've been to Disneyland, we've never seen their actual Haunted Mansion because every time we've gone, it's been the Christmas
They
overlay with
change up.
Jack
Yeah.
Skellington. So we've seen that, and that's great, and we loved it. But we've
It's
never
great.
seen
I love
we've
it.
never seen their Haunted Mansion.
That's
So
so funny.
yeah, it was so weird. But yeah, Japan was fantastic. And as a runner, I would get up at like 5 because the time change was so goofy. I'd get up at like 4:30 in the morning and run all the way around both the parks,
Oh,
and like
nice.
as they were waking up, and it was amazing. Now, I will say we were there in August, and
Yeah.
their heat was worse than Florida's heat. Like,
Get out of here.
I'm not kidding. Like I run in Florida
Whoa.
when we're there in the summer.
Yeah.
I'll finish a park day, and at 10 o'clock I'll go out for my 8 or 10K run in the resort area, and it's hot still, and I'm sweating head to toe.
Sure.
But it was nothing like what I felt in Japan. Like I could not believe.
Wow.
There was even a moment in Japan, and this was in the parks in the morning. So the park would open, you'd get the happy entry time because you were a resort guest. You get in like
Right.
15 minutes. You
Yeah.
think the 15 minutes is so irrelevant? It's not irrelevant. You need the 15 minutes because you have to
Really?
check in. You can select free rides, but you can't do it till you've scanned in, and you can only do one at a time. There's all kinds of little things. And
Okay.
that park requires even more pre-work than
I was
Florida.
going to ask
And
about that. Yeah.
it's wild. But we had to walk from the main entrance because we were not on the Fantasy Springs side. So at the top of the park is Fantasy Springs, and if you're coming out of Fantasy Springs Hotel, you're right there at Tangled and Frozen and all that's right there. But if you're coming from the other end, you got to go all the way through the park, and it's a good 10 to 15 minute walk. And my wife struggles in heat pretty regular. This was the first time I had walked through a park, and by the time I got to the ride, I was physically uncomfortable. And this was at 9 in the morning, and I was so
Oof.
hot. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And we've done this in Florida a million times, and I've never been
Yeah.
that hot. So I don't know if
Jeez
we were
Louise.
there. Yeah, I don't know if it was exceptional heat or what was going on, but it was
Yeah.
it was wild. But yeah, Japan was fabulous. Like I say, it was so much fun, and we'll definitely go back because you hear all this stuff on Twitter about people talking about it's cheaper to go to Japan now.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
the parks are definitely cheaper, but the flights are not cheaper. Like at least for us. So that's the big beef for us is it was very expensive to fly and get
Oh,
there.
yeah.
So
Sheesh.
but other than that, it was great.
So I've heard the booking process is a little bit complicated. Is that the case?
It totally is. So I'm going to get this wrong. There's a couple guys on YouTube and Twitter. I wish I could think of his name right now. I feel like there's a guy named Nate, but I can't think
Okay.
of his name offhand. So we watched their videos. My wife particularly watched the videos to find out. The biggest difference is there, you can only book the hotel 2 nights at a time, like their
What?
hotels. Yeah, like so even though we were going for 5 nights, we had to
Yeah.
book 2 nights and then a single night and then 2 nights at another hotel.
Whoa.
I think it has something to do with their rules over there. I can't remember exactly. But you can buy what's called a premier package. And if you're buying those, you can do it like, I think it's 4 months in advance.
Okay.
But if you're not doing the premier package, just hotel bookings and buying tickets, you can only do that maybe 2 months. I'd have to look all that up again.
Oof.
But to get the premier one, you can't really do it until you're 4 months out. But with the Premier one, you get your hotel, you get your park ticket, and then you can select, like, I'm going to go on Splash Mountain, I'm going to go
Okay.
on, this one, or, and we picked Beauty and the Beast, we picked in Disneyland. I think we picked Splash Mountain because we wanted to make sure we did that one, obviously. And we knew that the lines could get fairly long. So we wanted to be really sure we did
Sure.
that in the first part of the trip. And then in Disney Sea, we picked Frozen and Tangled. And you can also pick restaurants. Um,
Oh, okay.
but you can drop stuff out, but we didn't do enough to experience all of that. You also
Yeah.
get a free popcorn bucket. I have it down there, but
No,
you could
nice.
you could pick a free popcorn bucket, and I got this Monsters Inc. one with the door that like
Oh,
opens and
that's cool.
closes. It's really cute. But I have a lot of popcorn buckets, so it's a bit of a funny thing. But and anyway, so you book all that. So we booked our 2-night, 3-day premier package, and then we booked just a night to stay another night at, I can't remember if we did 3 at the one, like Disneyland, or 3
Mhm.
at Toy Story now, but we switched over to Toy Story. They moved our bags from hotel to hotel
Oh, that's
for
cool.
us. But their monorail that goes around has 4 stops, but you have to pay for it every time you use it. And it's like $3 to do a ride.
Oh.
Yeah, and like honestly, there's a guy on Twitter. His handle is at Debatsu fan, and
Okay.
he lives in California, and he works at Disneyland, and he goes to Japan a lot from there.
Oh, okay.
And so he actually helped us out a lot. Like
Oh, nice.
he showed us in our Apple iPhone there you can get a Suica card that's a transit card, put
Mhm.
your money in yen on there, and just use that as a scanner on the
Oh,
monorail.
that's cool.
So all of that he told us before we went, so we were well prepared for that. But the monorails are gorgeous. Like even our
I've
hotel
seen
room
them.
at the Disneyland hotel, our room looked out into the park, and the monorail was coming by right outside our window. We could see the castle in the distance. It
Wow.
was fantastic. And at night, there's still soft entrance music playing outside your room. So we just opened our window and we could hear the music, and it was like Zippity
Wow.
Doodah and like Winnie the Pooh, and this stuff is just
Huh.
lightly play. It was so nice. And so
Very cool.
yeah, it was a lot of fun. And the monorail, like I said, it goes to 4 stops, but it only takes a few minutes. It's not a
Okay.
long thing. But the
Okay.
Toy Story Hotel was awesome if you are a huge fan of really heavily themed hotels. Like
Okay.
it reminded me of like the value resorts at Florida
Sure.
because so much right in your face. And like I even
Yeah.
posted the other day a walk down the hallway where
I saw that
felt
one.
like it feels like you're walking
Yeah.
down ice cream, it's like all around you. But
Yeah.
but it was really cool. My only complaint there was they didn't have quick service in either of the hotels. So and like how Boardwalk doesn't really have a quick serve. Like they do
Yeah.
have the like
The deli
deli
thing.
thing,
Yeah.
but nowhere to go sit down and eat your Mickey waffles and
No.
whatever. You have to go over to
Right.
Beach Club or whatever.
Sure.
But like they didn't have that in the 2 hotels we stayed in. You had to kind of go in the park and find something to eat or whatever, and that was fine. Like that was fine too. I wanted to explore that, but the food was also very different there. Like
Oh,
so what would be a combo here, like a burger, fries, drink.
sure.
Over there, they call it like a chef set, and
Huh.
some of them were very odd combinations. I thought so. It would be like at the Gaston's restaurant. I
Mhm.
had it was like a piece of chicken and like a pretzel dog and a little quiche. Like it was
That's
just it was
random.
delicious. All of it
Yeah.
was delicious, but it was very odd. Like it was just I just wasn't accustomed to that. And obviously they had lots of seafood options and they had all kinds of other things. So yeah, you almost want to do a lot of research for there to see what's going to be in the restaurants, so that you know what you can eat, because that's what I found was it was just very different that way, and it was fun. It made it fun. But there's also like one of the 4 stops on the monorail is an actual train, like a train station. It's
Oh.
called Maihama Station, I think. So
Okay.
you can go there, and then there's a shopping mall there, which is outside the parks. It's not a Disney property,
Yeah.
although it feels like it's on it. But there's like a McDonald's in there. There's other restaurants in there. There's shopping in there. So you can go there and walk around and do all that kind of stuff. But it's just up to you if you want to do it. And then there's a huge Disney store called Bon Voyage, I think was the name, that was right there as well, like right near the station. And it was a huge, huge shopping place with all kinds of Disney stuff in there. So that was really cool too. So you didn't even have to get in the park to get to that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun, yeah.
I definitely want to do it, and we're talking about doing it in a couple of years. My son is going into his sophomore year of high school next year, so we're thinking maybe like a graduation trip, we can go over there. But just reading the little bit that I know about it, it does seem kind of overwhelming, like the planning part of it. There's a lot more that goes into it than, because like we're AP, we're DVC, so it's like super easy going to Florida. But like you just said, like, oh man, this sounds pretty complicated.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's worth it. And once honestly, once we did one day in both parks, we had a bit better idea of what we were doing.
Sure.
And it's funny too that they have a Main Street band. They have like all the things that you would sort of expect. But the other thing that was really different there that I should mention is even character meets. Like I've noticed a huge difference, I think, between Florida and California in terms of characters. Like Florida, it's much more set. Now I know they're doing more roaming type characters now. I know that's happening more in Florida. But at Disneyland, one of the initial shocks to me was how we would walk into characters. Like there's Geppetto, there's Moana, there's Pocahontas, there's like Captain Hook. Like everywhere I walked, I was running into somebody. I was like, what the heck is going? And you could just walk up and selfie with them, right?
Yeah.
So Japan, they're in spots, but like people aren't going up and doing selfies with them. Like in some spots they are, but they kind of would interact with people. And if it was a face character that was speaking English, I almost felt like they would talk to me because there was a chance that I was going to speak English back to them, right? Like, and whereas with some of the other people, that might be a little harder because they don't know if they're necessarily going to speak English. Whereas non-face characters, ones in the costumes, they're not talking anyway, so they're just interacting with people and doing all kinds of stuff. But I had a good interaction with the Evil Queen there because I walked up and I was just getting some footage of her as I was walking in. And she kind of looked at me funny and walked over and gave me a high five and was like, eh. But I mean, I had just walked up and there was all these other people there. So it was just it felt a little odd, but I don't know. But I have heard that about there that for them to interact and talk to people is a little trickier because not everyone is obviously speaking the same language. But it was a lot of fun. So that's awesome. Another little tidbit there.
Very cool. So let's go back to your Twitter handle again for a second. Disney Clips Guy. So you post a ton of clips. So when you do go to the parks, whether it be Disneyland, Disney World, Tokyo, wherever, how much of your day are you on? I'm assuming you do it on a phone, right? You're just shooting all this on iPhone.
Yeah, pretty much just on my iPhone. I actually have a little, I don't have it here. I don't know where it is. But I have a little stick that I got from Amazon, I think. It's like $10. It's just a little grip. In fact, the way the grip looks, it looks kind of like a gun handle. It's weird because one time at Epcot, the guy pulled me aside because he's like, "What is this?" And I said, because he only saw the handle and he thought it looked like. Now in Canada, we don't really have a lot of guns at all. So I'm like, I don't know. So most of the time I hold it in my hand when I'm walking in, so that way it's always visible and they don't care. But so I don't really go out of my way to film anything. Like most things, I'm just walking around and I will just flip it on as we're walking and just kind of stroll around and then some rides I'll film, but I kind of keep it right here on my chest so that the light's not in everyone's face. And I try to be really careful about that. I also try to keep people's faces out of it if I can. Like sometimes it's hard. Like if a character's coming at you and you're filming the character, and people are wherever. But so I try to be really cautious about that. But I have bought now, and I'm going to try it on this next trip, one of those DJI Osmo cams, the ones that are very small. So I bought one of those and I went out for a run with it the other day to see how stable it is. And it was really good, and it actually adjusted to the light on its own. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I'm going to see how that works when I'm down there. But I just film on my camera. I do rides. I do character interactions. I obviously sometimes I do fireworks. I actually just started on the last trip doing a bit of like food stuff where my wife would just kind of film me trying foods.
Seen that.
We just thought, I have a son who is, he's a funny guy. He does a lot of social media stuff, not so much Disney. He's been to Disney, but he doesn't go on his own yet.
Yeah.
But he's very good with social media stuff. He like has companies that send him stuff and whatever. And he says to me, "Well, you're doing great on there, but you really should do like some more with your face and with you
Ah,
eating stuff and trying with food." And I showed him a
yeah,
couple that I made, and he's like, "Oh yeah, those are way better. So do a few." And ultimately, I like to just tell people stuff that I think is interesting or good or not good or
sure.
whatever. I think one of the first ones I made like that was the school bread at Kringle Bakery.
Oh
Because
yeah,
I did not like it at all. Like I know
really.
people I know I don't like coconut. Number one, it feels like
Yeah,
fingernails to me. But anyway,
yeah. It's
I
a
won't.
texture thing.
Yeah, and so I ate it, and then as I was eating it, I was like, I do not like this, and I posted it, and people were like, "What? I love that." And
Yeah,
people kind of react, and that's fine. Like I'm not trying to tell people you shouldn't eat it. I'm just saying
sure.
it's
It's
not my
your
thing.
view on it. Yeah.
Exactly. And then we went to Chef Mickey's on the last trip, and it was the buffet. And I've heard people say the food is no good. It's good. It's no good. It's good.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we hadn't been there for years. Like I had gone, I think, in 2009 or something. And so
Hmm.
we tried it with these little, because we took the little kids with us in March.
Hmm.
And the desserts were all like little versions of the characters' types of desserts, right?
Hmm.
Cheesecakes and whatever else. And so I did this dumb video where I put all the desserts on the plate, but we were in a bit of a hurry, so I was just shoving them all in. And my little nephew beside me is like laughing his head off. And that was the funniest part of the video is he's like, "Oh, that was such a big bite." He's like 3 years old, right? So, and one of my older daughters saw the video and she's like, "Who is the kid that's hanging on your arm?" She thought it was some random kid. And I was like, "Oh, it's Steph's brother's kid and whatever." Anyway,
That's
but
awesome.
yeah, so I do a little bit of that, but mostly, film ride stuff. Feel like
Yeah.
there's always something different going on, and so
Sure.
I find sometimes like, and I don't know if you ever saw. Did you ever see the lightning strike I got?
No, I don't think
So
so.
so years ago, I don't remember what year, but I'll send you a little clip of it because it's pretty
Okay.
crazy. But it was like my first little weird moment where a video went viral because Scott
Oh.
Gustin
Yeah.
caught it and asked me. He's like, "Hey, do you mind if I?" I'm like, "Dude, do whatever you want with it,"
Oh.
because we were standing out front of Haunted Mansion, literally under the lightning lane sign, and I was filming because my wife said, "Keep your camera on," because there was lightning going everywhere, and I was too far. It would have been perfect had the lightning lane sign been in the shot, but it wasn't.
Oh.
But the house was there, and lightning came over the house in like the perfect forks over the top.
That's awesome.
Her grandmother's lived in a fun corner. It was a giant house, something like that.
And so I posted it, and like news outlets were contacting me and asking me if they could use it. And I was like, absolutely,
Wow.
go ahead. So yeah, they did, and it was just really funny. And so then that's why now I kind of, if we're standing around, I kind of make videos of stuff, and if we're interacting with characters, and just stuff like that. And I try to get the
That's awesome.
parades. I love the parades. Paint the Night was just,
Oh,
I mean,
I love
I
it.
I like Starlight at Magic Kingdom, and it's
Hmm.
actually growing on me more. But like when I first saw Paint the Night, I was like, this is like, I don't know what it was. It just hit me, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. So I
That's
really like
cool.
that one, and so I like to get the parades and Festival of Fantasy. I really like, and so
Yeah.
there's a lot of that. But yeah, just generally it's on my iPhone, and like I say, I'm gonna try this new one to see how it
Yeah.
goes. Just try
So
it out.
when you're going to the parks and you're on vacation, you don't go into it like a YouTuber, like, okay, I'm going to do all this content and I have all these plans. You're
Nope.
just kind of free flowing.
There's
Oh,
no
this is cool.
plan.
I'll record it.
Nope, there's no plan. It's just I like my wife laughs because she walks behind me. She doesn't want to be in any videos. And
Yeah.
so she's taking pictures of my backside and everything. And, so like she'll get these funny pics where I'm standing there filming something and on my
Yeah.
camera is the thing I'm filming, but she's caught it on anyway. So we do that. But
Inception.
there's a few things, I guess, where no, I really have never planned like, oh, I'm going to do this. Like
Some of the
I
best stuff is
just
the stuff that isn't planned anyway.
pretty much, and like the food stuff, I might like we've booked because of the 40% off with the annual pass
Yeah.
in the summer this year. We've booked like Tusker House and Toledo and Hollywood and Vine and Garden Grill, like a whole bunch of character ones. So I'm obviously going to video some stuff there,
Oh,
see how the
yeah.
food is, and then and even when we go to quick service places, I'll try stuff, and like my wife's going to film me doing it. But again, there's no script, there's no real particular thing.
Right.
And half the time I can't even remember what I'm saying. Like I think we were at Chef Mickey's. I was like, So this one's themed to Goofy, but it's something something. I don't know what it is, but it tastes good, you know. So
Yeah.
there's not a lot of that. I just try to be myself, and this is what it's like, and this is what I like,
Nice.
and if people like it, great, and if they hate it and they're annoyed by me, then they can not follow. It's fine.
Well,
I'll
people
live.
seem to
But
like it.
well, it's been okay. It's definitely been fun, and I like to. If we're down there, I like to just shout out and say, "Hey, we're here today. We're in the park. We're going to this park. If you see this guy in this shirt, don't hesitate to yell and
Oh,
scream if you
nice.
want to say hi, because we love to meet people, and we've made some good friends down there that
Yeah.
we see quite regularly. I know you had the Leisure Prof on. I know his
Yeah.
name is. I met him once or twice, or
Oh,
once I
nice.
think, and yeah, and Drew I've run into two
Yeah.
or three
Very
times
good.
now. Yeah, he's a good guy, and I've met Mr. Morrow, but not like he would know who I am. But I've
Yeah.
run into him like several times.
Yeah.
And Tim Tracker, we've met a couple times. Again, he would have no idea who I am. I
Sure.
just, we know who he is. My wife.
I don't know, man, because his wife has the best memory. I met them
Oh, yeah?
once at the pool at the Polynesian. We were
Okay.
looking for chairs, and I saw them, and she saw me looking for a chair. She's like, "Oh, if you guys want this one, you can take it. We're getting ready to leave." And then I saw them probably a year or 2 years later at D23 at the Disneyland Hotel. I said, "Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Love the channel." And she was like, "Oh, hey, we met you at the Polynesian like a year or two ago." I was like, "How do
Yeah.
you remember that?"
Well,
So who
I've
knows?
never met her. I've never met her. I've only
Okay.
ever met Tim. And
Okay.
honestly, my wife is the one who watches all the videos, and then she'll say, "Oh, come and check this one out," or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'll watch it. And I also really like Mickey Views, Braden. I've
Oh,
never met
yeah.
him,
He's
but
awesome.
we have messaged a couple times, just nothing major. He wouldn't really know who I am or anything, but
Sure.
yeah. So we've met some of them, and we're actually going to Epcot on August 27th on the first day of Food and Wine.
Food and wine, yeah.
Yeah, and so likely we'll run into a couple and say hello there again,
Cool.
but that's always fun. But like, I'm always amazed at the nice people. There's so many nice people, and people complain about Twitter and X and
Yeah.
whatever, and honestly, most of like all the people we've met, and I would say at this point we've probably met 40 or 50 people that we're interacting with on X
Mhm.
in the parks, and everybody has been awesome. Like, they're just
That's
really
great.
nice people. So
That's awesome.
I find it a fun way to kind of say hello and meet people. And most people aren't like wandering around wanting to spend the whole day with you. They're just like
No.
say hello and chat
Just
for
like
a
a
minute.
high thing. Sure.
A couple people will go on a ride with you here or there, whatever, and that's cool, and it's fine. So it's been fun. It's good.
Very cool, man. All right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna do lightning round here in just a minute, but I just want
Oh, boy.
two more things from you. Yeah,
Okay.
it's fun. It'll be fun. So a couple
Okay.
more things. Quickly, kind of tell us how the Run Disney thing came in, because again, you're just all in on Disney now, especially the running.
Yeah. So this is kind of a weirder story. So when I got separated back in 2012, I started to run, and like, just because it was a struggly time going through divorce and all
Yeah.
that. And mine's fairly complicated, so I won't get into that. But when I was first divorced, I was always going out running. It was a way to kind of relax, clear my head, whatever.
Sure.
And so, I was a pretty good runner. And then my wife now, who I met, said, you run a lot. Have you thought about doing like an actual marathon or anything? And I said, well, maybe a half. And so I tried one in Toronto. There was a half marathon, and honestly, it went well. I enjoyed it. And then the next year I did the full, because I wanted to try a full. And now that was very different. I was
Oh, yeah.
really dumb. I had no idea what I was doing, and it was difficult, but I did it. And then she said, there's Run Disney events. And I said, what? And she said, yeah. And I said, so in, I think, I don't think I have that one here. The medal's down there somewhere, but I did a springtime surprise, like a 10-miler, the Tower of Terror 10-miler, it was
Oh,
called.
yeah. Okay.
So I went down for that one just to see what it was like. And honestly, as soon as I did it, and all the characters and all the fun, I was like, okay, now I'm hooked. And so, and then I became aware that there was the marathon and the Dopey Challenge, and I really wanted to do that. So I did one, and I can, like, I'll just show you right here.
Sure.
My wife put it in a thing
Oh,
here.
nice.
The original, that was my very first big event.
That's awesome. Very
And so
cool.
she did all that, and that was really cool. And ever since then, I typically do the marathon weekend and maybe the Wine and Dine.
Okay.
And I've done the springtime a few times. but we've never done the Princess one in February because I can't get
Right.
there in February. There's no way for me to get time off for that. So
Ah,
I
bummer.
can do the January one, I can do the October one, but it's really tough to get the other one. So I just haven't
Sure.
bothered yet. But yeah, that's what
Wow.
started it. Yeah.
Dude, and you mentioned earlier you'll do a park day and then go run at night after the park? That is
So
nuts.
my wife tells me all the time I have ADHD, and I'm sure I do, but like, and I do because I'm all over the place. Even when we're at the park, she always laughs because we're like walking, I'm filming, we're talking, we're seeing people, we're this, we're
Yeah.
that, and she's like, I just go 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 go, and I have energy like crazy, and I don't know particularly why, but so I do really like to run, and I if you've ever watched any of my clips, I eat a lot,
Hmm.
and I eat a lot of snacks, so I have to pay the price, as the Tim Tracker says. Now it's time to
Yeah.
pay the price. Well, I pay the price by making sure that if I'm there 2 weeks, I'm going to run at least 8 or 9 times, like in
Wow.
the evenings, and so those are usually 8 to 10K runs. But like Coronado is a fantastic place to
Yeah,
run.
I love it there.
Riverside and French Quarter, fantastic. Art of Animation and Pop Century around
Yep.
the lake and around, like, amazing. Like, so I love running at those resorts. And when you're at a new place, running is much easier. And so,
Absolutely.
so I love to just sort of tootle around and do the running around the
Very
resorts, and it's a
cool.
lot of fun. So
Yeah, that's
that's
awesome.
that's why I do it. So
Very cool, man. We're good for you.
gotta burn all those snacks.
You what is it? Run to eat is what a lot of people will say. You
That's what
burn
it is.
off.
I should, if I could eat healthier, I probably wouldn't need to run as much, but I am not that guy. So
Very cool. All right, so one more thing for you. We talked about this
sure.
briefly before we went on. So you just got to see Toy Story 5, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So we're huge Toy
Spoiler-free
Story fans.
review.
Yeah, yeah. I won't give it, like, there were some surprises for sure. I thought
Okay.
it was good. So I'm gonna say the first three to me are great. I love the first three. I even said to my wife today as we were walking out of the theater, I said the moment Andy was handing over the toys to Bonnie is one of the moments that, because my kids grew up with those movies and all those things, and like, it was just that moment where you just were like, oh my goodness, this is one of
Sure.
those moments, in a movie.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can top the feeling of that at all. However, I really liked the fourth one for various reasons. I love Duke Kaboom, not just because he's Canadian, but I did dress up as him for the Mickey's Not So Scary and also for Oogie Boogie Bash.
Nice.
And I'm a big fan of that, and I did like the fourth. This one I liked too. I thought this one was really good. It had some moments that were really awesome, nostalgic moments to the other movies. There was some
Okay.
nice Easter eggs to some other things. I think it's a good movie. It's not my favorite of the five, but we definitely liked it. And I should also say we go to the movies once or twice a week
Oh,
for whatever's
wow.
playing. Yeah, we're big movie people.
Cool.
And so I will take a Toy Story movie over so many movies that I've seen in the last 4 or 5 years, because it's just better for me. It's just better entertainment than most of
Okay.
the other movies I see. So it was quite good. We liked it a lot. Some of the Buzz Lightyear stuff, I mean, you've seen the preview when they all come out
Yeah,
of the water.
yeah.
Like, there's some stuff in there that's quite funny, and like,
Okay.
it kind of meshed well with some of the earlier ideas in the previous movies. So that was good. And of course, you love to see the OG characters, and
Of course.
I don't want to spoil anything about who might be in it or whatever, but we liked it a lot. We both really liked it. So
Cool.
that's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
we were
see it with
happy
my
to
wife
it.
and kids tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
4 was fine for what it was. I felt like
Yeah.
it was a little bit of a letdown from 3 because 3
Oh,
just felt
absolutely.
like
Oh yeah,
it
you
was
can't.
such the perfect ending.
Yeah, it'd be like trying to do a sequel to Up. You can't do that.
Yeah,
Like, you
what do you
just
do with that?
you don't touch that. Yeah. So
Cool, man. Well,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
excited. All right, so we just got to learn all about you. Now we're going to learn
Okay.
a little bit more, but in rapid fire fashion.
Oh,
It's
boy.
the lightning
Okay.
round. So 13 questions. You don't think
Okay.
about it too much. You just give me an answer, all right?
Sure. All right.
Here we go. Lightning
Okay.
round. Least favorite ride in each Disney World park?
Mission Space.
Yes.
Over at Animal Kingdom, I can't even think of one.
Go.
Probably Cali Rapids, only because it's short.
Yeah.
Magic Kingdom. Let's see. I'm trying to be quick here.
No, you're
Probably
fine.
Space Mountain, just because it's rough. But other than that, I like Space Mountain, but I'm old and I always feel like I'm gonna hit my head. And
Yeah, I hear
then
you.
Epcot. No, I did Epcot. Which one? Hollywood.
Yep.
I didn't do.
Yep.
Oh, Smuggler's Run. Yeah, I'm not a.
Yeah.
It's okay, and honestly, it's top tier theming. But
It is.
I love the theming. It's just, and I'm hoping the new stories. I haven't been there yet for those. So I'm
Right.
hoping with the new stories and whatever's going on now, it's going to be a little bit better. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's not. And I would almost even. It's funny because the new Muppet coaster, I can't wait to be on. But we always struggle with Aerosmith, the coaster, only because our heads always are banging
Yeah.
back and
Yeah. A
forth.
little rough.
So that's the only drawback on that one. But other than that, that's about it. Yeah,
Very
I'd say
cool.
those. Yeah.
All right. Fix the Yeti in Animal Kingdom.
Yes.
Or fix the ground lighting in Epcot finally.
Fix
You
the
gotta pick
Yeti.
one.
The ground
right.
the ground lighting at Epcot. I don't care. I like.
It's a
So
hot button
again,
issue.
like I go back to Fountain of Nations. Go back to the old sort of canopies that were there. I don't know why, but I guess it's because it's what I experienced as the first Epcot.
Mm-hmm.
So I liked what was there before. I'm not a huge Moana Journey of Water fan. I've been through it. It's nice, whatever, and it probably is better if you're taking little kids through it. I don't take little kids through anymore. So I can live without that change in there. I really did like Epcot the way it was, but fix the Yeti
Yeah.
because I don't even know when it broke, so I can't even remember if I ever even saw it functioning.
It was before our time. I think it was
Okay, so they-
07.
So there you go. So for me, I would like to see what it used to be and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
that I guess I would go that one.
All right. Sit down meals or quick service meals?
Well, that's a good question. So for summer survivors, you do you do sit down meals in the middle of the day. So
Yep.
we often plan our day around, especially with 40% discounts on dining for sit down meals. I mean, that's basically a quick service meal now. But we like to get out of the heat and do our air conditioned meals in the middle of the day. Some trips we don't do any sit downs. Sometimes we just do quick service all day long. But yeah, we're very much sit down meals middle of the day.
Okay. One ride you want to get rid of and one ride you want to bring back.
Well, great movie ride. Splash Mountain. I love Splash Mountain. So
Sure.
if that could come back without being so controversial, I would love that.
Okay.
Also, I would say great movie ride would be the other sort of ride I would really love.
Yeah.
I'm a huge movie fan, and going through there was just geekdom for me. Like and honestly, when we talk about Hollywood studios, sometimes I wish back in Galaxy's Edge they would make a slow moving, huge people gobbler ride.
Yeah.
Even if it was just riding through the canon of Star Wars, like
Yeah,
just scenes for like something like that, because I love those type of rides and experiences,
so do I.
and I think that would be a lot of fun. So that would be that. Get rid of, I would say, Mission Space. I'm so claustrophobic. I struggle. That was my issue there. I got on it with my kids not knowing what it was back in 2008. And I was just in a panic, and the kids were like, "Yeah, this is fun. This is great. This is fun." And and we were on the orange side, so I had no idea what I was even getting into.
Oh, buddy.
And it wasn't even the spinning; it was just being claustrophobic that got me. And so I can't go back in there. But
That's enough for you.
but that's the one I would say. And as a part B for that, I would say please do something with Figment, because I hear such good stories about the original Figment, and I never experienced that. And not that I don't like what it is, I just always get off it going, somebody did this. Where did this come from? Like, it's a struggle. So that would be the other one, I guess.
Okay. 7 nights at a value resort or 4 nights at a deluxe resort?
So first things first, my wife won't stay at values unless we're really trying to save money. That's number one.
Okay.
Now we do it like in October on the run weekend. We're doing it because we have like 4 trips planned this year, so we have to.
Okay.
But so to be very honest, I would take the deluxe 4 because then I would probably actually buy another week at a value after it. Like we almost always do combo stays. The most we've ever done, we did 3 in one stay, and we did I think we did Wilderness Lodge, Coronado, and boardwalk in the same trip. The long stretch was at Coronado because we got a great deal on it, but the other two were just kind of 3 or 4 nighters on each end. But it was great.
Very cool. All right. Favorite restaurant in Disney Springs?
I don't eat there enough. I would say,
Okay.
what have I even? You know what? We do not eat there enough that one would stand out.
Okay. Fair. Hey,
Yeah,
that's
like
fair
we
enough.
almost never eat down there. I find there's so many in the parks that we like that we
Yeah.
don't go down there. Now we've done we did Fulton's Crab House, and then we did Fulton's back in the day, and we did well, we've done T-Rex, and my wife hates T-Rex only because it's so loud in there.
It's very loud.
It is really loud. And then we've done, she and I did House of Blues. I guess over the years we've done a few. And then we did Summer House this year. And
I
their
really like
cookies,
Summer House.
their cookies I live for. I mean, I'm a cookie person, so
great.
this was, but we did eat there and it was good. But yeah, we don't eat down there enough that I would really have a favorite.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Favorite park at night?
Whichever one I'm in, honestly. I mean, I saw somebody put a thing out about this a week or so ago on Twitter where they talked about what's your favorite park for whatever.
Yeah.
And to be very, very honest, we hop every day. Like we never stay in a park all day.
Okay.
Our most common move is to start at Animal Kingdom so that we can buy lightning lanes there. It's the cheapest place to get them, but you can then take them out. And so where we go after that, I don't really care. Because we always hop, like I just like wherever I am. And every park has so many things that I love. Now to be like, on the other hand though, fireworks and parades I love. So like you do get the Magic Kingdom edge, but you know, all of them to me, and my favorite after hours party, I don't know if you're going to ask that, but is Hollywood, because to me that's the one where the rides, there's some great rides there that in the day become so long, and if you're in the after hours party, they get right down, and they also have great character visits at night, and
Absolutely.
so and you get all the snacks, so you get a good. I think that's the best bang for your buck for after hours parties, in my opinion. So
Fair enough. Let's see. Favorite Epcot food festival?
Food and wine, mostly because we don't drink at all, like no alcohol.
Yeah, neither
so
do
so we're not super concerned about that part as much, and not that people are, but I just find it seems like the food offerings are always really good, and we started that like when our first experience with that was when they had it earlier in the summer, back when a couple of years ago when it was starting in like July or like whatever. Yeah, it used to start pretty early, so we'd be there for a long period of it, and that's where I first met Tim Tracker because he was there for that. So, but I would say food and wine. I think that's our favorite.
Okay. Favorite resort lobby?
Now that's just hurtful. So, I would almost say Animal Kingdom and Wilderness Lodge are so similar. I know they're similar in design by the same person, and I love those. But the Polynesian just has that smell and that feel, like. And I love Grand Floridian, but I don't want to say people feel snootier there.
I get it.
But there is a different feel there. Whereas those other three, you could put me in any one and I'm happy. And having said that, and this is kind of odd, but Grand Destino Tower, the lobby there, I have a great time in there. It's just a buzz at night, and because it's a convention building, like a lot of times, you get to see like a lot of people, and I've had friends come and meet up there, and we were there during the NBA junior tournament a few years back.
Oh, cool.
And we were like the only other people in the resort while the NBA junior people, so there were NBA players everywhere. We met Chris Paul. We like,
oh wow,
it was really, really weird. My one son really missed out because he's a big basketball fan, but he didn't get out of bed. So me and my younger son went into Hollywood Studios, and there's Chris Paul, and we're like, anyway, it was fun. Yeah.
Sick.
So yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah.
All right, no, it's a tough one. Well, this could kind of go with that. Your favorite smell on property?
Oh,
because there's, resort lobbies. There's food smells. There's ride smells.
That's gonna be the confectionery on Main Street because
Yeah.
I love the custom popcorn, but when you walk that, you know what? It's a toss up between that and the Big Top Circus
Oh yeah, Big Top Treats.
because the caramel corn smell in there is listen, there's lots of great resort smells, lots of great ride smells, but when you walk into that Big Top and the caramel hits you in the face, that is
Man.
I'm having immediate hunger then. I'm like, oh,
Then
I
you
need
would
it.
love in the Germany pavilion, caramel cooch.
Yes,
Cooch or whatever
absolutely.
it's called.
I get the
Yeah.
butter bar in there and the
So
yeah,
good.
fantastic that, and I also get the caramel corn in there.
Yeah.
And then you're making me think Kringla too, but not for smells, just for that triple cookie. Anyway, whatever.
Oh
yeah,
yeah, so we could
now
go
it's
on
all
and
on
on
my
about
mind.
food.
Yeah, we could. We could just have a food podcast. I mean,
Well,
good grief.
speaking of food, your go-to snack when you're in the parks.
Well, each one would have its own. I would say
Okay.
Epcot, I often, because we a lot of times will go to Frozen as one of our early in the day rides, I will
Mm-hmm.
often get a large Coke Zero and a Kringle triple chocolate cookie.
Okay.
That's like a breakfast as we're in the line.
Sure.
So I would say there I get that almost every trip. In Hollywood, I get the Num Num a lot.
Of course. You are a cookie guy, huh?
Yeah. Oh, I'm a huge cookie guy. In the Magic Kingdom, I would say I get the spring rolls quite regularly, and the specialized popcorn. I always get a bucket of that
Okay.
on a trip. And then for Animal Kingdom, so I've only tried it twice, but that new cookie dough ice cream thing is
Oh,
pretty.
I haven't had that yet.
Oh, it's fantastic. I had it. I made a clip on that one even because I was like, "Holy
Okay.
cow, this thing's good." But it was good. And if it's not that, it would probably be whatever cupcake du jour they're doing, because I do a lot of the cupcakes, and so I like to go around and try a lot of the different cupcakes they've got going. And so at Animal Kingdom, and I forgot. Satuli has the blueberry mousse.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've had I've had the blueberry one, the Christmas one,
That was
and the old chocolate one they used to have. They
Yeah.
don't have anymore. The only one I haven't liked there is that new one, the banana cinnamony one.
Oh
It's
yeah, it wasn't my favorite either.
Super pretty, but not tasty.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't a fan of that one. So look
Okay.
great for Instagram, but not so tasty.
Nice. All right. So
Yeah.
you've almost made it through. We've got one more left for you.
All
A
right.
ride in the parks you think needs to be updated next, because we just found out about Carousel of Progress and things like
Yeah.
that. So it doesn't have to be like totally rethemed or anything, but maybe it just needs like a refresh, some real work going into it.
Well, I'd love it if Space Mountain was a little smoother, but I can live with that. I would still say Figment because
Yeah.
like I say, I think it's just baffling. Like I actually have a video of
Yeah.
the first time I went on it, and at the end I'm sitting there with my wife, and you hear me just kind of go, "Huh," we got to the end, and I was like, "What did I just experience?" And I mean, with that scene where Eric Idle's face is the moon. And you're like, I mean, I
That's
love the
trippy.
song. Don't get me wrong. I love the song. Okay, it's an earworm. It gets in. Like,
It
I
is.
like it a lot. But I mean, there's parts of the ride where I'm like, what is going on? But anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say I'd like to see something there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Everything else, that's the only one that always strikes me as I'm going on it. It's cool air. It's a nice place to
Oh, yeah.
relax for a few minutes and whatever. But we'll do it. Like we do most rides most of the time. We do the whole
Nice.
park. I'm one of those guys who, as long as we're in the park, I'll keep going on stuff if we can. Like as long
Beautiful.
as we can. So
I
yeah.
love it. Well, there you
Yeah.
go, man. You made it through
Yeah.
all 13 questions on the
There you
lightning
go.
round. See, it wasn't too hard.
Good stuff.
All right, so we're going to move on from that to our last piece of business for this show. It's going to be a little
Sure.
bit of news, and I don't know if you
Yeah.
heard, we talked about it at the beginning, the Disney
yeah.
Springs buses, so we got to talk about that. Now, obviously, you're a Diz Twitter guy, and everybody is freaking out over this. So it's something they tested. I want to say they did it back at Easter time first.
I remember seeing it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
remember
to
that.
get on the bus, I think they weren't doing it at each particular bus stop. They were doing it like on the outskirts of the whole like bus depot area, I guess, where they would
Sure.
check you and then you would go to your bus stop. So now that's going to be a permanent thing, and it starts the 28th of June, so that's coming up next week. Now, what
Okay.
are your thoughts about this? So if people aren't familiar, I don't know how you've missed this yet, but to get
Yeah.
on a bus from Disney Springs, you can park in the garage, but to take a bus, you have to have either like an ADR at a resort, you have to be staying at a resort, or you have to have like a recreation activity, and that could be things like bass fishing, have a boat rental or something like that, like a fireworks show or something like that. But you've got to have some kind of reservation to do it. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Because I don't even know if it's split. I think it's more people are angry than not.
Yeah, so let me ask a question, because as an out-of-towner who doesn't ever drive a car, so like we've never driven anywhere near there. I rented a car once to go to a Tampa baseball game. That was it. But so are they checking this by looking on your MDE app and like seeing that you have some reservation? Is that how it is? Or?
Yeah. So from what I understand is they're going to scan your band, because your band has everything on it from what I'm aware of, right? Like it's got all your reservations, your hotel reservation and everything like that. So they're going to be checking for that to make sure you have a reason to go to the resorts.
Sure. Yeah, so for us, like we were talking about this a bit today, like my wife and I, like on one hand as a resort guest, and I've seen this, I guess. Again, I don't go to Disney Springs enough that it's a huge impact that I see a lot.
Yeah, I go a lot.
But for example, with French Quarter, we stayed there. We stayed at Riverside in March, and there were times we did go to Disney Springs because I went down with my brother-in-law who hadn't been down there for years, and we were stunned. The line to get on the boat was so ridiculously long at French Quarter, and obviously people were coming up to get beignets or whatever, and we were just shocked because like they could only take like 15, 20 people because people were coming from the other resort, and so they couldn't even load the boat up, and people were getting visibly frustrated that they want to get down there. This is one of the glowing features of the two Riverside, like the Port Orleans resorts, is being able to take a boat to Disney Springs, right? So I can see like resort guests feeling that frustration of, listen, we're paying to be at the resort. We're paying to use this transportation back and forth. I get all that. But, if Disney up until now hadn't caused any grief over that, like anybody that could park at Disney Springs for free and take the transportation, I mean, I can understand why people would be very frustrated who aren't resort guests because they've been able to do it up to now. So it's like a big change for them. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I even used to tell people who were saying, oh, I'm going to go on a cruise and we're not going into Disney parks, but we're going to stay near there. Should we do anything? And I'd be like, yeah, go to Disney Springs, grab a bus and go visit some resorts. And like, obviously they can't do that now.
Now.
So I guess for me, it has so little impact because I'm always a resort guest.
Right.
But I understand that people who want to go there and do something or just tootle around or just, an AP or whatever that wants to go in and just grab a ride up to the parks or whatever and, wander around. I get that would be more frustrating. Now you got to pay for parking, whatever it is. I'm so unfamiliar with most of those things. I don't know the loopholes people use. So, and as I was saying earlier, like for me, if I'm at Coronado, let's say, and people sometimes complain about Coronado not having good busing, and I've heard that.
Yeah,
I haven't had a ton of problem with it, but most of the time we're early morning people going to the parks, and so I go out, and if I see on the app that the bus is not going to be there for 20 minutes, we just get an Uber, and I just take an Uber ride over there. And so I don't understand, like, if I was a local, if I went and parked at, the outlet mall there, and I don't think you have to pay to park there, do you? I mean, if you park there and took an Uber to something, I don't know what the cost of that is. It's got to be $10 or something, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know about that. Like, even when I go to Major League Baseball games in other cities, I never park in their parking. I park at, like, Winners 2 miles away, take an Uber over, and then an Uber back, so that I don't have to put my car in the $50 parking garage or whatever it is.
Go.
So, I'm not super cheap, but I mean, I try to avoid paying ridiculous pricing. But I mean, I guess in the sense of, the resort guests who want to be able to hop on their bus and not wait behind a bunch of people who are using the loophole, I understand their frustration. But I also understand, this is a very political answer, obviously, but I also understand the frustration of the people who for years been able to, like, I see Professor Leisure doing the leisure walkabouts all the time. So I'm assuming he does something to get to all those places and have a good time. And I know lots of people do that. I mean, lots of people go and visit. I know I can give my name to someone if I'm in a resort and they can park at the resort without paying. So like I've done that for people where like a friend of mine was coming to run the marathon with us and he stayed off property, but he was allowed to come and park at Animal Kingdom Lodge as long as I had his name on my account. And he could come in and go,
okay.
I'm with this guy last name. He'd use my last name and they'd let him right in and he could park.
I'm sure
So,
that'll be closed up soon, though.
and well, that might be another one that gets messed up. But
Yeah.
that's so it is a tricky one. I get it. And like
It is.
as with everything, with COVID, I think so many things got taken away at COVID.
Yep.
I think that's why the bitterness level or the frustration level for so many people
You're
is so
probably
much
right.
higher. Yeah, like and I get it. Like one of the things I think we love so much is, and I recognize a lot of things have been taken away, because we used to get them. Like I can't even detail for you today some of the crazy stuff that we have experienced because we're already a long way into this. I don't know how long you want to go, but like we had some really cool perks that were very personal to only our family for a while.
Okay.
And like it, just to really fast summarize that, I used to write a letter every time we finished our trip, and I used to send it to George Kalogridis, was the old president, right?
Okay.
Now he never contacted me, but like I remember coming home from a trip. I'd been home for 4 or 5 days, and I'd sent my letter in a big long letter, and the letter was always, "Here's the things we loved. Here's the things we thought
Yeah.
stunk. Here's the things we'd suggest if you want to, and these are the things we heard on buses talking to people. This is what I would tell them." And so one night, this guy calls me. I'm on the golf course playing golf on the 10th hole. I'm on the tee, and this guy phones. He's like, "Hi, this is so and so from George Kalogridis' office." I'm like, "Okay." He talked to me for an hour about my
Whoa.
letter. Yeah. And so then after the talk about my letter, he says, "You know what? These are really great things that you've suggested. We really appreciate it. We want to offer you free dining for your next trip for you and your family. I see you already have one booked." We were going for 10 days with 6 people, and they gave us a free dining plan. And multiple times when we arrived at the parks, or sorry, at our resort, because I remember arriving at Coronado, and I think it was 2018, and I walked in. I was coming to registration, and I walked right past this, fancy guy in his suit because I wanted to hustle and get going. And he goes, he says to my wife, "Are you guys?" Calls like, "Are you the Vandercooks or whatever?" And
Yeah.
she says, "Yeah." And she yells at me. She's like, "Hey, come back here!" And it's the manager, and he knows who I am. And he goes, "Hey, listen, I read your letter from the last trip." And I said, "I wasn't in this resort the last trip." He goes, "Oh, I know. Your letters are used at training meetings." And I was like,
Whoa.
"What?" And he goes, "Yeah,
nuts.
we share some of your feedback in these meetings." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" Anyway, he goes, "Really appreciate it. We're glad you're here at our resort. We hope you have a great stay. Is there anything we could do for you to make it better?" And I said, "Well, we'd love 3 extra fast passes, because remember that was when you used to get 3 freebies."
Sure.
He's like, "Absolutely. Let me see what I can do. You guys go get checked in." There's a message on our phone when we got out to our room. "I've added 3 per day per person for your whole trip on top of your 3 you already have."
Wow.
And I was like,
is
"What
awesome.
the what?" So we had 6 a day each. And then every time we came back after that, I said to the person when I was booking the trip, "Hey, they used to give us 3 free fast passes above the other 3." And he said, "Yep, I'll add those on." And so we kept getting them. And then COVID hit.
Jeez.
And then it was gone.
Oh, man.
But anyway, so I haven't been writing letters as much in the last while, not for any particular reason, just because
Yeah.
I'm like, we're there so often now, I'd be writing them all the time. But I just thought that was funny. So
Dude, that's
that
awesome.
kind of thing, yeah. So there's just all these little funny things that go on, and maybe I'll start doing it again, because I think it's important that they know, like, what their longtime guests are at least thinking.
Sure.
Are they going to respond to everything? I realize they got to take care of their shareholders. It's a business. They got to do what they got to do. But there are things they could do that would make, like, simple changes.
Little
like
things.
I even said, like, why are you making a banana and a $10 sundae the same snack credit? Like, a banana,
yeah.
make it at least 2 bananas. Like, I mean, if it was
Yeah.
on a Sunday, but so stuff like that was just dumb. But like, you were just kind of trying to give them some feedback. But anyway, so yeah, that was
Very cool.
Yeah, very interesting stuff. And George was a bit different than some of our more recent presidents of Walt Disney World, I think.
Yeah.
Just from what I've read about his style of service. So anyway, it's kind of cool.
Very cool, man. All right,
yeah.
well, we learned a lot. That was pretty cool. So anyway, so moral of the story is you can't take the buses from Disney
Yeah.
Springs anymore to go to a resort unless you're
Yeah.
staying there and have an ADR, which is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
a bummer, and just Twitter's on fire about that still.
They are.
One more before we get you out of here for the night.
Sure.
Are you going to be down during Food and Wine, you said this year, yes?
Yeah, so we're coming twice. We'll be down the 22nd of July until August 6th. And then we're actually making an end of the summer trip from, I don't know, some like the 25th to the 29th or something like that. And so I've already
Okay.
done a reservation for the opening day, the 27th of Food and Wine. I did
Okay.
a park reservation just to make sure we get in. I don't know if it's going to sell out or whatever, but just making sure.
So are you a fan of the Eat to the Beat concert series? Do you stop and watch any of those?
We have. We've done some. We're not people that are going to line up for like 2 hours to get into our particular show. Like we saw Rick Springfield, I think it was last
Oh,
year, and it was
cool.
super crowded. But we just stood back by Regal Eagle and kind of, watched it from there. We're not too worried about, getting in there. The one that shocked us the most was King and Country for King and Country or something.
I'm not familiar with them.
So they're, I guess, a Christian rock band. I
Okay.
had no idea, but we just were walking up, and it was the middle of the summer, and they were playing the Christmas one, Rumpa Pum Pum.
Oh, the Little Drummer Boy?
That's the one. And
Mm-hmm.
so that was going, and we were like, what are we hearing here? And so as we walked up, we were stunned at the size of the crowd. And somebody said, oh, yeah, this is for King and Country. Everybody, rah, 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 rah. And I was like, oh, okay. But we've seen, we were there during, I think it was 98 Degrees. They did
Okay.
were they there? Was it NSYNC or 98 Degrees? Or one of
It
those-
would have been probably 98 degrees.
Yeah, maybe. It's one of those boy bands, but they did a medley of all the 90s sort of boy band songs and stuff.
That's
So that was
cool.
fun. But we don't go out of our way, but we definitely try to catch some of the music for sure.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw, but I guess the lineups have been announced for this year.
I did see, yeah.
There are some newcomers. We've got Lauren Elena. I don't know who that is. Sorry. Fits in the Tantrums, Grace Potter, as Warren Treaty are going to be there. Alan Stone, Big Head Todd, and the Monsters. Hanson, who I feel like it's...
So until you got to Hanson, I didn't know any of them. And
Really?
I actually posted when the list came out a few days ago. I posted and I said, is this a thin list this year? Because I was like, and I said, am I too old to know who these people are or just out of touch? Because I was like, I know the Beach Boys are going, but they're not while I'm there. So it's not a,
Okay. Yeah, they're
I think
last.
the only one that's there while I'm there during the end of August, there's one, I think it's Hanson. I think
Okay.
Hanson was the one, there's one night they might be there. But
Okay.
Hanson, I know one song. It's Oomba. You know what I mean?
it's funny because I feel like they're really leaning into millennial kind of stuff. I mean, I'm
Sure.
technically a millennial. I'm an elder millennial, as they say. But I'm looking at this list, and bands I listened to growing up, like Newfound Glory is going to be there. Yellow Card's going to be there. And I mean, a band like Yellow Card was playing like amphitheater type shows. So, I mean, we're talking
Okay.
like 10 to 15,000 people, and they're going to be at Epcot, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Boys to Men, people know Boys to
Yep.
Men.
Yeah, for sure.
The Fray, Bowling for Soup, Smash Mouth is going to be there. So,
Smash Mouth, I know, yeah.
yeah. So I feel like they've definitely gotten some bigger names in the past however many years, because before it was a lot of the bands that were kind of on their way down and not super popular anymore. But I feel like they've got more names now that people know, which is pretty cool.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, as I said, like you look because you know your dates you're going, and I'm like, oh, who's there while we're there? I think Air Supply was there. That was one we tried to catch because like we're old, so like to see some of these older ones is kind of in our wheelhouse. So that was fun. But yeah, no, we're not. Like you say, we look. If it's someone we know, we might try to get there and see it, but we're not like, super hyped to get over there and be in a long line for a long time to see it. So, whatever. But I do like it.
Another really cool thing is too, and then I'll let you out of here, is during the Christmas time where they do the oh my goodness, what is the processional called that they do at the theater?
Candlelight processional.
Candlelight processional.
Yeah.
That one is really fun. I mean, I'm not like a uber religious guy or whatever, but I don't think you have to be to sit down and watch that show. So I'm a huge baseball fan. I'm an Orioles fan, and years and years and years ago, this has got to be, my oldest is 15, so maybe 10, 11 years ago, something like that. I got to see Cal Ripken Jr. do it, and that was the first time I'd ever seen it, we did the dining package so we could get a good seat. So we went to Rose and Crown, I think is where we went to eat. And then we got to go see that. And the first time I got to see it with him, which was awesome enough, but I was like, this show is incredible. So we've seen it many times since then. We saw Brie Larson do it last year. That's another really fun one because you get to see the cool celebrities. Like NPH is always there, I feel like now, because he's a big Disney fan. And
I've seen
they've got some pretty nice names that come through there and do it. So,
cool. We've never actually sat down for that show. Like I think we walked by it once, but again, it's so crowded. Like we're not often there at Christmas. We've done it a couple of times around Christmas time, but not very many times. Because that's again, it can be an okay time for us to go, but it's so much more expensive, the flights.
Oh, it is, yeah.
That we're like, is it really worth it to spend that much for a shorter trip as opposed to just saving it and waiting and doing something a lot longer? So
for sure.
Hey, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Who's the biggest celeb you've ever run into in a park?
Oh man. So I got to meet Josh Gad.
Okay.
That was in Disneyland. That was during D23. That must have been a couple of D23s ago. I got to stop and chat with him. No pictures or anything, but I got to talk to him. Robin Roberts was the same one. I got to stop and talk to her a little bit from like Good Morning America. Met some basketball players there too. The Brooks or the Lopez brothers.
Yeah, the Lopez brothers. Yeah,
super tall.
You see, they're hard to miss. Yeah,
dude, I saw them at the 50th, and super nice guys. I think those are the few off the top of my head. What about you?
Well, I met Jon Favreau last year at Disneyland. Yeah, I got a picture with him. It was funny because he was filming that Oswald thing that's coming up. Yeah. So they were doing that, and I accidentally was in the middle of their scene they were filming, and I had to get out of the way. I didn't mean to. I didn't know I'd walk because it was in New Orleans Square there. Okay. And I was just in the wrong spot. Anyway, that was in the middle of the day, and later in the day, we just happened to be walking by again, and there was a band, like the New Orleans Square band was out playing, and he was standing with somebody watching them playing because they were clearly done filming. It was like 5:30, and I caught eyes with him, and he looked at me, and I just went. And he's like, yeah, come on over. So I went over and talked to him, and he was super nice just for a minute and just tried to think of a movie that was obscure. I was like, I loved you in The Chef. But
dude, I love that movie.
I know it's a good movie, but nobody knows that he was, that's what it is.
Cool food truck.
And then Bradley Cooper on the same trip was in DCA, and I didn't do a picture with him. He was with his kid. And but the only reason, the whole you look for the
plaids.
The vest, yeah. So we were coming out of Radiator Springs, getting right toward the entrance of Marvel Campus, and so he was coming this way, and the only reason I noticed, I saw the vest, and I saw it was a man with a Phillies hat on, and he had a kid with him, and I'm like, who's this guy? Because I'm like, ooh, that could be a celeb. So I looked, and I was like, that's Bradley Cooper.
That is awesome.
Anyway, he walked down into Marvel because he was going down to the ride that he does the pre-show for, which rocket there. Yeah. And so I just, and then I caught him. I saw him like an hour later in Radiator Springs, and we weren't following him. We just happened to cross paths. And I just walked up and I said, hey, man, love your work. Appreciate your stuff. And he's like, hey, thanks a lot. And then I just walked away. I didn't want to bother him because his kid was with him. And then 20 minutes later, I see him down by Guardians Tower, and he's taking selfies with a bunch of people down there. And I'm like, oh, yeah, so I could have. But anyway, yeah, so those are the two there. And like I said, Chris Paul we saw over at the other
really
park.
Cool.
But yeah, I was just curious because, it's kind of fun. You see some of these folks roaming around and whatever. So, yeah.
Well, that was a fun way to end this, man. Dude, you have been a lot of fun to talk to. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. It'd be fun.
So, if people don't follow you already, they absolutely should. One more time, what's the Twitter handle?
At Disney Tips Guy. Pretty easy to find.
Fantastic, man. Well, again, thank you so much. And hopefully one day our paths will cross down there at some point, and we'll get to meet up in life for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Be great. Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
All right, take care. All right, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Oh, leave it on.
We're going to end the stream and then just leave the browser open for a little bit. I'll close this out, and then, you can just kind of leave it in the background and let it go. But I'll upload it, and then I'll put the show up tomorrow.
All right, thanks. That sounds cool.
All right, thanks, man. Have a great night.
Yeah, see you, dude.